Hi everyone. Well, last week we found inspiration from photographs from last year's gardens. This week we're going to Pinterest for inspiration. Just because it's cold and dreary outside doesn't mean we can't paint gorgeous flowers here at home. So grab your paints and your paper and let's sketch together. Hi everyone, we're back today. We are finding more ways to paint beautiful spring flowers, even if it is the middle of winter or the very beginning of spring, wherever you are. So last week we were painting from pictures. I have pictures from Carol's garden that were it was a flourishing garden. So I created some zinnias, a zinnia garden. And hopefully if you were able to go back and do that, you could have maybe done some splattering, or in this one I had done a whole background of just pink hues, but very light, easy. Our goal with these videos, with these painting sessions, is no matter how busy your week is, we can just spend 20 minutes painting, relaxing, connecting back with nature, the things we love, color. And so this week we're going to continue on with that theory, with that practice. So this week I'm going to use Pinterest as a way to gather ideas. So it may be too that when you were going through all of your pictures from last year, you maybe got stuck in, I don't know, Christmas pictures or maybe the fall, but it's really easy going through your camera of not quite finding what you want and all of that. I have been there so many times. We have so many pictures on our cameras. So you might go to Pinterest, and this is a picture that I had found today. Super fun. And again, we're just using this as a base point, just like we used the pictures last week to create our own garden, and we're continuing to do this. We're not trying to do a portrait of these flowers. We're just you're using them for inspiration. So you can see I'm using a smaller picture today, or paper, a 4x6, but you can completely do a larger one, a 7x10, a 6x9, etc. And what I did is I really like the idea that we have almost like an umbrella, like a kind of or I should really say a rainbow. We have tulips in this, we have daisies, we have little baby's breath, I believe, but you just have a variety of colors, very springish. So what I did is I am doing just that. I really started out with the daisy, and then I added in some tulips, I added in some smaller daisies, and then some of these smaller, like the baby breath, and I do not know the purple ones, but I see them a lot. Those guys too. So again, using this as an inspiration, you could add in your own favorite flowers, but let's start painting this together. I'll have a link to on the blog. I will also put a picture of this painting, but I'll link under here to the Pinterest pic that I used for your inspiration. Okay, I'm not going to take this down today. Again, the other option too, if you don't, is just a pause here, and you can certainly copy mine. You can see both of mine they're different because, the idea is just to kind of be a little bit free with these. So let's go ahead, let's start painting here. I'm going to use very soft colors. I'm going to use yellow and green and some orange and pink and purple, and that's about it. So very, very, very soft colors. I'm going to go ahead and start with the yellow. I'm using a cadmium yellow over here, so I'm just going to get that nice and wet, and it's pretty bright, which is what we want. And I am going to go around. I'm going to dot the inside of my daisy because the most innermost part of this particular one, innermost part, is green, so I want that yellow to dry. And then I'll dab in a little bit of green. And I'll dab over here. And then I'm going to go over to my tulips. I want this to be somewhat wet because I'm going to dip in orange because I want them to pop and color that, just a little bit of an orange hue going through them. So I'll show you, I'll pick up some orange even now, coming closer here, and I'm just going to dip that orange right a little bit in the middle and just let it dance around. Again, our goal is to paint in about 20 minutes, so we can't go into tons of detail, right? So we're going to let the watercolor do its beautiful work. And of course you could tape it down if you'd like to, but I knew the way I was growing, as I sketch, the bouquet naturally grows and grows, and then when I start painting I typically add in more flowers. So I didn't want to eat up any of the space, and since we're not going to soak our paper and it's such a small piece, a 4x6, I thought I'm just gonna leave it as is. Now, do I have any other tulips? Did I just add 3? Oh, I have one down here. I've got a tulip down here as well. I'm gonna add a little bit more water because when I put the orange on, I want it to dance. Okay, I saw the first blooms of spring. It has warmed up here in New York. So it is in like the 30s, which is a lot different than the teens and 20s. And then it's been rising up to like the high 40s, even 50s. And so I saw some yellow little buds on a bush this morning as I was running. Let's see if I have any more. As I was running through Central Park, which I had to stop, of course, and look like a tourist, as I always do when I start taking a million pictures of the flowers. So I was thrilled to see it. I kind of been on the hunt for like when I was going to see that first bloom. I was looking at the weather and I think it's going to get cold. It's going to drop back down into the 20s. So I'm kind of hoping that like the trees don't bloom quite yet, because I'm afraid that freeze, I'm just getting some green, is going to freeze everything out, and we don't want that. So it looks like I was kind of looking at some of the other bushes and trees, and nothing else looks honestly too eager to wake up yet. So that may be a good thing after all. Okay, so I am just going around here and I have a permanent green, and that's a nice spring green. And I am just kind of going through all of my leaves here. And we're gonna add in some purple to the green too, but we're gonna wait on that and add some to just make some darker colors and to do a little bit of shadowing. But I wanted to just get this down first. And you can see I'm just moving around the painting. Come back out a little bit. Kind of like that an umbrella sense of just moving it all over, you know, move one side to the other. This helps me, like, see where I missed that one? It helps me not to miss things. And if you find your green is a little too faint, just pick up some more paint. Remember that watercolor always dries lighter, and you can always increase the intensity by adding more color, just picking up some more paint. All right, so moving around. This is really fun. I love spring colors. Beautiful. I like just creating this little, okay, I may send this one to my mom and remind her that spring is coming. I'm going to go visit sometime soon, in the next month or soon, and we have talked about we're going to plant her garden together, which that will be lots of fun. She is in California, in the middle part where the soil is really rocky. So the last couple of years, she and I, and then my younger sister too, we were trying to clean out some of the rocks from the garden. So we've done pretty good. So I'm hoping that the actual setting up of the garden will be a little bit less labor intensive this year. The first year when she bought her house a couple years ago, it was really, as if you know, if you live in California, there's lots of areas, I'm sure other states too, where that soil is so rocky. It is really not fun to set it up right for your garden, but that is part of the spring work. Okay, so coming a little bit closer, let's add some purple. Let's add some beautiful purple, and I really like purple. I'm using the dioxazine purple, dioxazine. It is a beautiful complement to yellow, and so we'll use it for our shadowing as well. So I'm going to come over here on my little flowers that I need to figure out what their names. You notice I added like these little dots, these like little baby roses. I'm going to make those pink. But these almost like these miniature daisies, but they kind of stack on top. It's a kind of, it's not baby's breath. It's something else. I really should know it. In Carol's garden, she had some that were similar, and I think they were button flowers was the common name for them, I think. But they were super cute. They were pink and blue. But we are adding some purple to this one. Okay, I think I'm actually going to add some more right here. Sometimes I like to do that as I start to put the color down and go, I need to just add a little bit more. Okay, that looks good. Now let's do our vase, and we'll come back with our daisies. The daisies are mostly white, right? So we're going to be pretty just gentle with our daisies. Now you can paint your vase whichever color you would like. I am going to paint mine a yellow because I am going to use that purple for the shadow colors. So I'm just going to come in here And I'm going to move around pretty lightly. I don't feel the need to get right up underneath the leaves because I don't want the color to blend. I can always come back later if I want to do more detail work, but again, this is a watercolor sketch. We're not trying to be super detailed or exact, and I went ahead, I just added some water, and then I'm just going to add some yellow here, just doing a little bit of a wash over our vase. If you are going to be in New York in the next, I think before May, there's a beautiful exhibit, special exhibit of Caspar David Friedrich, if I am getting his name right. And he was a German artist, late 1800s into the 1900s, and they did a beautiful display of his work. Beautiful nature work, cloud studies, forest sketches, just incredible to see his work from beginning of his artistic life to the end. He did a lot of clouds and mountains and trees, tons of trees, not so many flowers, but tons of trees. Okay, let's grab a little bit of purple and then add that to your yellow. If you painted your vase yellow, because what we're going to do is we want to create a shadow. But one of the things I loved about Friedrich's work is his ability. He started out with sketching, and then he went to oils, and his ability, especially when using oils, to create this sense of the sun and of light coming through different rock formations was incredible. And so I think that an artist's ability to, okay, we're going to just do shadowing underneath the leaves because there'll definitely be shadows there. I'm always very, very intrigued by artists' ability to capture the essence of light, especially sunlight, sunrises. There's a beautiful painting where it's a single person, I think it's a monk at sea is the name of it, on a beach, and there's a sun, the sun is going down, but there's like a storm, and so you have this amazing like flash of light in the middle and the dark storm around, but it's just mostly illuminated in different color, not like raging seas or anything like that. The painting itself is actually rather simple in composition, yet incredibly profound. It was just beautiful. And again, lighting, right? Color and lighting really can make or break our art. Okay, so now that's why we like to really use colors that are going to sing together, and adding a little bit of that light perspective in just a simple way of shadowing, right? So let's go ahead. I'm actually going to pick up the purple before we go back to our flowers, and I am just going to create a bit of that shadowing underneath the vase. On this one, I got a little bit messy, so I'm going to keep it a little bit clear, and you might want to wait just a minute because sometimes the yellow wants to merge, but we're just going to pretend that the sun's coming down. That's why with shadows, or it's hitting it from the behind on top. So we're going to have shadows coming off this way, and I'm just going to kind of let them merge off the page, just like that. And then I'm going to take just some water, and I'm almost going to blend it so we don't have a hard line, but it's just kind of soft. And then I'm even going to add a little bit over here, a light shadow of maybe what would be the leaves or the flowers bending over, casting just a little bit of a shadow. Lovely. Okay. You might want to add some splatters, but you certainly don't have to, as I did over here. And if I did that, I would just add little splatters around the edge like this. Okay, let's go ahead. At this point, you can make a decision. Do you want to add pink into these little splatter, the baby's breath, or you could do orange. That would be nice too. I chose to do pink in this one. I think I will do orange over here though, just for the sake of a more warmer composition. After all, this is not a floral that we're doing from real life, but we are simply having fun using Pinterest as our inspiration and making our own. Coming a little closer there and move this down, our own bouquet. Now you may see that and you may think, gosh, maybe I'm not crazy about the orange. Maybe I wish I had done like a yellow. You could always just come back, pick up some yellow, and add some yellow to this. It only gets really crazy if you thought to yourself, let's like add a red or a blue, and that might just be a little bit too much. I actually should have had some over here, so I'm just going to come over here and add some more these pretty flowers and add a little bit of orange into there. Okay, with our, I'm going to pick up our green, and let's go ahead and just get the green inside of our daisy here and over here and right there. I'm going to pick up a little bit of purple. I'm going to mix that with the green. You kind of have to be, well, you should be careful with this because sometimes too much purple can go a long way. I'm just going to move a bunch of green over there so it's not too dark. And then I'm going to come back, and where I know it's going to be more shadows or just darker, I'm just going to add in that darker green color. And if you don't think it's dark enough, add some more purple. I'm going to add a little bit of extra green over here and over here. If the weather is still pretty frightening, still stormy or slushy, lots of slush, it is a beautiful time of year to go to museum. Your local museum. I find most cities have a local art museum, and it's really fun to go in and be surprised at just the beauty of the art. I remember when I lived in Stockton, my grandmother and I, she knew I really liked art, and we went to Hagen Museum, and there were some beautiful pieces there. In Sacramento, we would go to the Crock Art Museum, which is a pretty big museum. A lot of Western art, of course, being in East California. I have friends. Oh, look at that. We have a problem. Here I am chatting away. If that happens, when I added that darker green, as I'm rambling about museums, as one does. Okay, I'm just going to blot that. If that happens to you, you see too when it's nice and wet like this, look how clean that blots up. Look at that. That's fantastic. There's a hint of green, but I don't have to be bothered by that at all. It's going to dry. I will wait towards the end, and then I'll come back and just paint that yellow back in. And no harm, no foul. If I had waited too long, it would have dried. But that's the nice thing about watercolor. You just blot, and you pick it up and keep on going. Okay, so if the weather's frightful, might be a great time to go also take a quick trip down to the art museum. The nice thing about smaller museums too is that you can go through rather fast. And that can be really nice. Just to spend an afternoon reading, studying, learning about even local artists, which I always enjoy. Okay, I am going to come back with my purple. Just add in some detail. I like it when I do little flower pictures like this. I just kind of like to work my way around. Purple down here. I'm going to add some orange here. The pink probably would have added a little bit more, just a spark, perhaps, for sure. But I kind of like doing all the warms too. You might want to do a couple of these. Always fun. Okay, now with our daisy, I'm going to take the yellow, and I am just doing some light lines. Not a lot, just a few. Just so they don't look white, just blatantly white, which almost looks like we sketched, but we didn't do anything to them, right? I just made that center green. When I come back out, you can see it's not really obvious, the color, and it doesn't need to be. If you feel like even that color was a bit much, you can just get some water. Oops, and pull it out. I'm going to come back in, and I can just even take the water and move it around a little bit. We almost want the essence of the shapes of the petals, and then I can come back and take that tissue or soft paper cloth or the paper towel and just kind of lift off the excess paint. Okay, this is too when I do like to add, a couple of splatters around the exterior. I feel like it just kind of gives a nice over arch to our painting. This particular one, my flowers went all up a little bit higher, so I don't quite have as much room. But I've got the purple there, I've got the green, and you can see too where you can start playing with this. You could also do just a complete bouquet of tulips, which would be really pretty. And I'm just going to do some green splatters up there. I'm going to take some green as well and just come back in, even over here, and add a little bit of detail in. Especially around the daisies where there's more white, you can come back in, add some more green to define. That'll add definition to the petals. And this is looking really, really nice. I really like this. Okay, kind of take a look, take a peek at anything you want to add. I'm going to come back and add the yellow underneath my leaf here. I'm going to be careful though. Be very careful that I don't wake up that green, and it will dry nicely if I don't wake up the green. Okay, come back down here and just move and merge all of that color together. And then too, I am going to take a little bit of purple, add that to my yellow again, and come down here where it would be, definitely have some shadowing down here. Shadow there, shadow here where the green is. Okay, all right, where are we time-wise? Oh, we're at 20 minutes. Look at that. That is just about perfect. And so you see we have two very similar portraits. This one, of course, with the pink, a little bit of a different color. Beautiful. Finding inspiration in Pinterest this week. We found inspiration in last year's gardens. And I'll be back soon with more ideas for just bringing in the color and the warmth and the flowers into your home, your art studio, perhaps even little in your mailbox, and before the beautiful spring growth starts to happen everywhere. Have a beautiful week, and I will talk to you